So, whoa, look at that castle up there. Look at that. Oh, up there. Beautiful. Not sure if I'll get up there, but I did want to point these out. Again, it's windows below the grade. And that one, as you go up the grade, up the hill, you lose window height. Eventually you just got a tiny one there. Rue Toustain. Oh look, they got a weather vane there. Right. Hygrometer, I think it's called. So yeah, this the height of this building here obviously isn't the same at that point as it is at that point. So how are the mud falls? And again, this building wouldn't make sense to have that staircase there. How are the mud falls? It's like I like this. I favor this idea of a snowfall of mud, a settling of the sand. This window is shorter than me. I mean, this door. It was a window, I suspect, but it's now a door, and a very short door at that. And then yeah, these windows start to lose size as you go up to, you know, you've got a floor level here, and then obviously interrupted by this, it must be a window with a floor level 5 foot below that. And again, as I go up the hill, I'm losing the ground floor, or I'm losing this floor. See that? Windows are getting closer and closer to the ground. And then another floor level which goes kind of cuts across here, which makes no sense. I suspect this door, these two buildings have only been joined by this in the 1800s. Sorry. Look at that. Again, you wouldn't put a window at street level. You'd only Chateau Musée Le Français. French is not my thing, so forgive my butchering of the language. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. And then as you go down the building, you start gaining height for that floor. So eventually in the next building, you can put a doorway into there. Let me quickly nip along here, shall I? See what's up here. I mean, that's very weather beaten, and these walls don't sort of add up, and those sort of window holes up there, it's just an old building, and they didn't continue using it. And the only part of it survived some false war. Oh wow, and then look at that mud down there, all of that sloping, massive amount of sloping, not recovered. You know, that's, for me, I'm far more inclined to say that was, they didn't build on top of that so much as that's residue post-flood. Quite fascinating. I wonder how you say that in French. I got a cage here to stop bits falling off onto people. Yeah. Interesting, eh? Attached to this, and made of very cheap style, with the stones and concrete. Stones that you can find anywhere. Ah, well, there you go. So that sort of proves the point that this is sediment And then there's a big archway for what could have been a doorway, could have been a window. And then a secondary, like someone at some point decided to try and keep a whole of some kind of thing here. Or one of my preferred theories is that there were two events that these buildings suffered. Too much floods. They are spraying us today. Thought I might get away with it, getting out of England, but we seem to be in a window of excuse me. We seem to be in a window of spraying at the moment. Yep. So let's see, we're gonna get up here, I think. That's obviously quite modern, the red brick up there. Added on to the top wall. So you got this bigger stone, a smaller stone, and then the red brick above it. There's a Union Jack up there. The flag, they call it drie kleur, or three color, the French flag, and it's the same three colors as the Brit flag. Tell you what, at the top table, these guys are brethren of the same funny handshake club. See that tall tower over there? That's where people get their satellite from. But they don't want to hear it. That is how you get your phone signal. Look at that levelness out there. I try and explain to people, you can see ships. If you're standing on the beach, you can see ships go away, but your friend who's standing at 100 meters elevation will claim he can still see it over level water. And that's where cognitive dissonance slaps them into stupidity. I can see ships so far away, and there's horizon, there's sea beyond that, and I don't have a powerful camera at all. There's sea beyond that. But someone on the beach would say, no, it's gone over the horizon and I can't see the bottom of the ship. It's definitely a globe. And I don't know how much curvature is, but I don't care. As someone said that to me on Sunday, I don't care how much curvature there is. I'm like, oh, you're not scientific then. You're just following the National Geographic. Poor Bob Nodell's name came up again on Sunday. You saw that video of the people are quoting him. They don't even know the poor guy's past. Rest in peace, Bob. And my thoughts go to Cammy, and his son's name is Jaren, I think. So my thoughts go out to them for their loss. But if it was such a slam dunk proof that we live on a ball, then why don't the mainstream priests of the religion use that one themselves? They'll float it out on Netflix, and then they just let the sheep gobble that stuff up, and then they don't have to really deal with it. But the people who were building on this scale were ambitious and certainly had abilities. But if all of this is settlement, if all of this banking here is post-flood, then this building runs much deeper, as I suggested with what we saw just now around the corner. But it also makes me wonder about, this white stone and its origin. So there you have it. From a flat Dieppe. Now, if 100 people stood on the coastline of France, we're on the west coast of France, at 10-mile, 20-mile intervals, and all panned their cameras around, none of them would see and then you splice them all together, they'll all be sort of pointing at each other. There's no, oh, we've lost them and we've lost them. And that's why I don't use the 8 inches per mile squared. I have to denigrate 8 inches per mile squared quickly, because it's absolute disinfo designed to reinforce the confusion. Because if I say it's 10 meters of drop over, 5 miles or 10 miles or whatever it is, if I say it's that, and then someone's standing, at 10 mile point, they'll say, no, it's not that. It's that, you're saying that this last mile had a 3 meter drop. No, it didn't. The last mile that mile has got 8 inches according to the first guy at that first mile marker. So if you live on a bull, you don't get to make flat points, flat spots. And the problem with the maths is they're doing it on a piece of paper around a column, and that column doesn't need to allow for the nose of the plane, the ship, the walker. It doesn't need to allow for them to change angle. It always does it based on a straight line, as in straight out there. If you go out there at 8 inches per mile squared, then the distance between my hand, or this straight line, and the sea should be 8 inches per mile squared. I don't disagree with that, but that's not what we don't live on that. We live on a ball in which, they claim, in which we would have to be dipping down all of the time. So your nose has to tip down, and your pencil line doesn't allow for that. Your pencil line doesn't do this. It doesn't follow the curve. It's a clever trick that they've pulled on us. And then the flat earthers are the most confident proponents of 8 inches per mile squared. Using maths to trick ourselves again is not smart, as Bush said. Fool me once. So yeah, it's not that. And not only that, to look at your wall clock. Your wall clock doesn't have a single straight line on its circumference. So to assume that the point before I was looking out of sea has a straight line onto it, and then the point after is just a straight line but a sort of measured drop. No. If we lived on a globe, the curvature of the globe would be so much more obvious. It would be steeper than this hill that I'm about to descend. I estimate that, I reckon, that it's 6 and 12. Sorry, it's 8 and 12, So for every 12 steps, 8 steps down. Every 12 meters, 8 meters down. Every 12 kilometers, 8 kilometers down. I know the maths for the trigonometry and all that, but no. Like I said, you're never having to account for the pointing down of the nose. What you're doing is you're taking a straight line from a given point, and you are, saying this is how much the drop would be. I do not buy that. And I simply say, as I've said before, take the measurements of the globe as given, which is 8,000 from North Pole to South Pole through the center. So that means that the guy at the top, to get to the bottom, has to physically drop down 8,000 miles. Thought this was a cannabis growing here, but it's just bamboo. Wow. Some beautiful buildings here, you've got to admit. 8,000 miles down, but the journey over the skin is 12,500 miles. So it's 12.5 and 8. 12.5 long is your journey, and you will have, on that journey, reduced your position by 8,000. And it doesn't matter which way you go around the globe on that. It's going to be the same. So if you don't agree with me, that's fine. We can beg to differ. I'm not going to, but I do not. That's why you'll hear me say to people like that, it's the flat Earth. It's not. It's the globe contention that it's 8 inches per mile squared, and of course I don't even agree with that. That it actually should be so much more obvious. Which is why I think the 8 inches per mile squared is useful as part of the disinfo, because people can dissonance that difference away. They can excuse that away. I can see, because they can say, yes, look, the ship has gone away at 5 miles, 6 miles, and that accounts for, there or thereabouts. So it doesn't really, even 8 inches per mile squared fails with that. But if we'd always been saying, listen, you live on this ball in which you're going to have to change your angle of attack, so as that by the time you get to South Africa, you are 90 degrees perpendicular to, well, 90 degrees from the perpendicular that you started on. People would have a lot harder time defending that nonsense. And it is all nonsense. But this is another beautiful city that seems to have a lot of its original features intact. And it's really been a pleasure to show you around a little bit of Dieppe. I hope you've enjoyed the tour, and I look forward to showing you some more. Where we're staying at the moment has got very slow Wi-Fi, so I don't know how long this is going to take to get up. So bear with me, and have a good day. More of the same. Oh, I couldn't resist it. There was just this building caught my eye, and you go around the front of it and you can immediately see that they've created this to give you an excuse for going in at a different floor level. That's a floor level there, and then just halfway up here is another floor level. Sorry. Yeah, another floor level up here. I don't know how to say Tartarian and mudflood in French, so but I thought I'd just quickly grab that for you. Good sky painting. Yeah, what else do we see? Oh my goodness me, look at that. Look at that. Really, I think people sound more and more lame when they make excuses for this, like they did this on purpose. There's just no excuse for that. Look at the door there, to a window there. It's like people do not want to see what's right in front of them. Anyway, enough of that. Hope you've enjoyed the tour.